Today I wanted to talk about ADHD. Currently, right now, I'm traveling for my 4-year anniversary with my girl here in Hallstatt, Austria, which is like the background that you can see. And I'll show you more of it. We're on I think like day 8. And, on this trip, something that I battle with is ADHD. Um, I know for me, it's always, I can never finish anything that I start. I'm always over planning, overdoing, overcommitting. Um, I have rejection dysphoria, which means that rejection has um, a huge impact on my self worth, more intense than somebody who just has rejection issues. It's almost like heightened, like just 10x or whatever. And for me, having that my whole life is why I was a people pleaser, class clown. Um, I would lie and exaggerate things because I didn't know how to study. Um, I was just all over the place. And I used to feel like I didn't have the skills to be able to do anything because I can never follow through. I can never finish. I found myself getting very angry and easily triggered towards things, right? Because my emotional stability was very weak. And for the longest time, I had no idea that I had it because there's two different types that you can see. So back in the day, it was ADHD, ADD. You have people that are more hyperactive, like the kid that jumps on tables during class in elementary school and screams stuff and gets in trouble in detention. And then you have the one that's more inattentive, which is what I have, more inattentive. So I do things that stimulate me, not that are good for me. And if I'm lucky, I'll find something that's good for me that stimulates me. And so again, I have no idea about I know the verbiage now, but back then I didn't. So I learned that once I started going to like therapy and like learning about that I have ADHD and how to navigate it, there's a couple people that I was really connected with. Dr. Amen talks about carbs are actually bad for people with ADHD because the carbs makes the inattentiveness worse and the hyperactivity in the brain even more hyperactive. So one thing I picked up was going keto, and I have seasons where I'm really good with it, seasons where I'm okay, but for the most part, I don't mind not eating carbs. It's pretty easy now, and that does help. Another big thing was less is more. So I started to discover that when I go to a grocery store, if I go this week, I'm only going to have beef. I'm not going to get beef, chicken, and fish. I notice when I do that, I'm able to actually commit to my meal plan and eat all the beef because I have decision fatigue when there's too many choices. So if somebody gives me two choices to pick from, usually I can do pretty well. Somebody gives me three or more, there's no way I can do it. I overthink it. But if I only have one choice, then it makes it really easy for me to not get drained mentally. So when it came to food, I started ordering um, stuff like that, right? Like, okay, I'm just going to do steak this week. I'm just going to do fish this week. So less is more. And that was also what comes with my clothing. That's why if you notice, if you look at my videos, I wear the same clothes every day. I'll buy the same shirt, the same style of pants, beanie that I'm wearing, shoes. So I started to find these ways to kind of like cope with it. And then one of the biggest things was a daily to-do list that I do every night, and I have to do it. So on my notes, I do Monday through Sunday. On my Google Calendar, I do color coding for my schedule. And I've learned that if I don't do it every night, and I mean every night, like I literally strive to do it every night. I'm not perfect, but I strive for it. Like if I do it, I can literally get things done. And so that's very helpful. And one big thing too for me was, and this is huge, like really big. So for sure, if you have ADHD, pay attention to this one. I learned that I need to surround myself with people who celebrate me and not tolerate me. And now this is for friendships, romantic, but the biggest one is for my career, what I do for work. I learned that I want to be in an environment where people are celebrating my success and my strengths because I'm not perfect. And also people who understand that like we should put people where they're good at, not where they're weak at. You find people who are good at what you're weak at and put them there. So for me, it made sense why I wanted to at one point become an entrepreneur because I can create the work lifestyle and do it the way that works, the way that I'm wired for my ADHD. So for me, I learned that I like novelty. So I need a job that's always changing, not changing jobs, right? Not be going for working as like a, musician, then an actor, and then a server, and then a real estate agent. Not like that. Just a job that has novelty in it. So for me, working with people in addiction, mental health, um, interviewing people on YouTube with really cool stories from all over the world, uh, having a peptide company, speaking, all these things, it's different people, so different stories, so it stimulates me. Also, when it comes to a work style, if I contract with people, it's more of when do you need this done by? I will get it done. Now, I may do it at 3 in the morning, 3 p.m., I may do it midday, I may do it at the end of the week, but it will get done. And allowing that to work in my favor also helped too with my ADHD. And for me, in case anyone's wondering about medication, now I'm not against medication. For me, though, when I speak for myself, I'm a recovering drug addict. So my thing was cocaine and crystal meth. So I've tried Adderall. And don't get me wrong, when I take an Adderall extended 5 milligram, I was literally like, all my problems are solved. But I started to notice because I'm a recovering drug addict, I started taking 1, then 2, and then 3, and then taking on my days off. So I saw that the addictive habits were coming back, so I flushed them down the toilet. So for me, I can't do it, right? So instead of me complaining, blaming, playing a victim, I just have to have more discipline. So if you can take medication, I highly recommend it. There's Vyvanse, Adderall. There's stuff that's like Strattera, that's non-stimulant that you can take. Just, obviously talk with a doctor. And so for me, I think one of the biggest battles with the ADHD that I get, maybe you can relate, is sometimes I get like this impending doom that nothing's ever enough. And I fall into a state of suicidal ideations. And I hate it because I could be, like right now, look, I'm traveling through Europe with the love of my life. I'm very successful, doing what I love. And yet I can still have those moments of like, man, this is still never enough. And I stare at a wall for hours and I feel like the world's falling apart when it's not. And it could be overwhelming. Sometimes I feel like nobody gets it, or I just get annoyed, especially because I'm aware of it. So if you can relate, just know that I see you with that. But again, it's that awareness that kind of helps me navigate it. But on this trip, something I noticed was that, so I got really sick before this. I was like hiccuping for like 2.5 days straight, throwing up, shitting on myself. Like I just got super sick. I did this food challenge with the spiciest sauce in the world with one of my boys at Steve-O's co-host on the Wild Ride podcast. So I don't know what happened, but I was out of commission. I couldn't move for like about a week, and then I had to go backpacking in Europe. So I kind of was already starting to feel mentally unstable. And then on this trip, my girl, she's wild. She's crazy. She'll do like 5 countries like in 5 days, like just wild stuff, or maybe more. So we go on this trip, and it's like 15-hour travel time, and you have a 9-hour time difference. I still work for my peptide company and doing some social media stuff, so I still have to work but get used to the time change. And so we get here, and my stomach is so messed up that I literally feel like I have a stomach ache or cramps or something happening 24/7. So I can't really eat, I can't really move, I can't really sleep, and I can't really work out because fitness is huge for my ADHD to stay mentally stable. So it's wild because we did Austria first, and we saw Lincoln Park, and we did Vienna, Salzburg, and now we're in Hallstatt. And today's the first day my stomach feels better. But in these 8 days, I became so mentally unhinged. I was emotionally all over the place, reactive. I felt angry. I felt empty, and I was just a mess to be around. And I realized that, like, this is what makes me so angry with my ADHD is that, like, when I'm moving around so much and there's so much newness and unfamiliarity, I become very in fear because I don't feel safe and I can't think straight. And because I'm not working out and I don't have a morning routine and my sleep is off, it's like I felt so mentally unhinged. And I get so angry at myself that, like, I can't handle situations like this without losing my mind. But also, it kind of brought some clarity to, like, you know, if you have ADHD like myself, like how important it is that I have to have boundaries with, like, I have to sleep well, I have to work out, I have to have a morning routine. I have to know that too. Like, moving at this pace is not realistic for me. I believe I need about a week per country to settle mentally. Um, I've learned that, like, man, take care of your gut health because it totally threw me off. Um, but it's just the challenges of it. I was not a good partner on this trip for the first couple days at all. It wasn't fun to be around. And it's not that I wanted to be like that, but it's just like, I have mental health issues. And when my ADHD is not being managed, I become a mess, like really bad. So the things that help me that maybe you guys can learn from this if you have ADHD is just like really start to understand like how you're wired and find that routine that keeps you grounded. Remember that less is more. For me, it's I work out, I do keto style diet, I pray, um, I surround myself with people who celebrate me. I do a daily to do list every night, color coding on my Google Calendar, and built a career, right, in a way that's has novelty and newness to it. And oh, one big thing too is to be able to finish things that you start. When I have an idea, I make sure that I finish that idea before I start the new idea. And I have ideas coming in 24/7 in my brain, right? So what I do is I write them down so I don't forget, and I tell myself I'll get to this when I'm finished with this. And it's a battle because I naturally don't think like that. I'm naturally having 50,000 thoughts in my brain happening all the time. I'm more of an abstract person. I really don't get stimulated by scenery. I get stimulated by conversations and people and creativity. um, but also, yeah. And like I said, if you could take medication, go the medication route for sure. And find things that work out. Maybe it's meditation, reading, but also just being able to express it as well, to know that, there's nothing wrong with you. We just have this issue in our brain that, like, we naturally tend to focus on what stimulates us and not what's good for us always. But if we're lucky, we can find what's good for us that stimulates us, and that's a sweet pocket, you know, um, being able to do that. And also, you guys can kind of just get like a little, sneak peek on, like, I don't ever want people to think that when you look at my YouTube channel, my Instagram, that life is perfect. I have great things and I've been through a lot of stuff, but the battle is still every day. I still have to manage my anxiety, my ADHD, my drug addiction, um, my insecurities. But, you know, hopefully something I said helps. Let me give you guys a quick little view before we close out. Watch. Look at this. So this is my room, and this is the view. It's pretty wild, huh? I'm in Arnold Schwarzenegger's hometown. Well, not this part, but his country, at least, Austria. So, guys, I just want to say, hopefully my camera doesn't fall. Um, for those who don't know me, my name is Fausto Castellanos. Uh, People call me the hope dealer, and I'm a clinical counselor. I am a speaker. I'm a big advocate for people with mental health, people who've been through trauma, and I'm just somebody who grew up poor, with a mother with codependency and cancer, and um, narcissistic father, and I was a drug addict for a long time. And I found recovery, I found stability, I found love, I found success, and I'm just here for you guys, hopefully to create a safe space for you guys to feel seen, heard, and understood. And if you have any questions, always feel free to ask. And let's go on this journey together to heal, to grow, and to just become the best version of yourself, because maybe this life we live is the only life that we have, right? I know we all have different beliefs, but also we can be wrong in our belief. Who knows, right? No one really knows. So let's just say this is the only life that we do have. Let's make the best of it. Let's take risks, chase our dreams, experience love, and yeah, just live life. So thank you for tuning in, and sending lots of love your way.